As I told you on first service, revival is transformation. 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 Listen, King David was a man that worked so hard. He worked so hard for the kingship of Israel and Judah. He worked very, very hard. He fought for it to establish Republic of Israel. Please, if you don't know about this story, I want to tell you the story. King David was the one that brought national anthem to Israel. It was established during the time of Moses, but King David was the one that published it and gave them what called flag. In the flag of Israelite is pure white, blue, up, blue down, and there's something inside it called the star. That star is called the symbol of Israel, but its original made are called Magandawid. Magandawid simply means the symbol of David. Dawid is David. Now, King David worked so hard. He fought very, very hard to bring the Republic of Israel and Judah. Why is it talking about, when you want to talk about Israel and you say and Judah, are they not Israel? They are. But this is two continents in one. Judah took the position of Jerusalem or Jerusalem, and that Jerusalem land and portion happened to be the Garden of Eden. Okay? Then the people of Judah in Israelite today, they are the priesthood lineage. They don't associate with others. In Hebrew religion, they handle a religion that called Orthodox Hebrew Judaism, while other 11 tribes of Israel can handle Reform Judaism, Reform and Conservative and Messianic. While this particular Orthodox Hebrew Judaism are the only religion given to the tribe of Judah, and they are the head of Israelites. Because they stay in the Holy Land. Israel, nation, but the Holy Land is where the temple of Jerusalem was built. The Republic of Israel and Judah was established by King David. He fought for it. He worked with the Egyptians, because in the ancient days, the Egyptians, they were too learned, civilized than other countries. Then, after the establishment of the country of Israel and Judah, the life continued in the process that David has male children, a lot of them. Then among all these children of his, he was not comfortable with them. His problem, if I die today, who will take over my throne and who will continue where I stopped? People, are you hearing me? Your problem is you. So many problems that you people are having is me. You don't think about the next generation of yours. I don't know whether people understand what I'm saying here. If you are eating now, you are so happy you are eating alone. You don't think about the continuation of your lineage. David had a lot of wives, and the orientation of all these women was not encouraged to him. Because the impact of a child, the orientation of any child begins from his mother. Because children always close to the mother. If you have a woman that is weak, her children will be weak. If you have a woman that is vast, her children must be vast. If you have a woman that talk and talk and talk, her children will always talk and talk. If you have a woman that always lavishing money, anyhow, no money, she never respect money, her children will do the same. David was so intelligent that he find out that the children he has, touch that young man, say, are you hearing? Touch somebody, say, are you hearing? The children he has was not encouraged to his throne. Their problem, I'm a prince, I'm a princess, I'm a prince, my dad is the priest, is a king, we can do whatever we want to do. David had a girlfriend. Bathsheba by name. The wife of Uriah. When David met this woman, in the eyes of God, it was wrong. He faced the punishment, the consequences, and he stood that he will never give up to that woman. That he must marry that woman. The parents of the woman couldn't give David their daughter in hand a marriage. But he took over the woman. So the woman came into David's life out of wedlock. People, are you hearing what I'm saying? Please, I need few people to understand me. So you see, this woman stayed with King David and she became pregnant. The first time, God punished her and punished King David. The second child, when this woman was associating, cooperating with David, David was looking at her. David saw something different from all his wives. The one he married legally. But this one happened to be my concubine, my girlfriend. He saw something different from her. In him, he concluded that any child that this woman will have will be excellent child. People, are you hearing me? If you are not conscious of things you do, you are not going to have revival if you are not there. The most important thing, if I am not there, if I'm not on seat, can my family take over? If I am not at home, how is it going to be? If I am not there, how am I going to do? The women he married as a king, he has so many of them, Abigail, Michal, and so many of them, but they are not responding to his test. While looking at them, he looked at his suffering all years. And if anything happened to him, his kingship will shatter. Because whosoever that come close to you, you have every right to know the life of that person if you are wise. Am I talking to somebody here? Do not conclude your relationship because of the beauty. When you ask some stupid ladies here or outside here hearing me, I want to marry a graduate. King David suffered and he valued suffering. The most important thing, do you value your suffering? I value my suffering in ministry. I know what I have passed through. And I'm not praying to go back to my suffering, and I am not praying that if I'm not there, my suffering, my legacy will not continue. Many men of God are dying because they don't have any person that will take over if they are not there. Heir apparent is not the elder brother. My daughter, you hearing me? The heir apparent is not the elder, the most senior son. The most senior son is a child with wisdom. A child that can follow up the vision of the father. A child that can follow up the vision of the family. It's not talking about he is the first son of this house. You know, in my father's, my mother I have brothers. We are 7 in number. I am the 3rd son. And also the 5th child of my parents. 2 young men, 2 young women ahead of me. My own elder brother always claimed I am the first and the biological. That's how he used to introduce himself. He said, I am the first and the biological son. I'm sorry. I'm the first and the biological son of. What was his target? Inheritance. Hello? So nobody should come close. He wants to inherit everything. He was not thinking how to establish or to continue where his father stopped, but to enjoy it. But the first son happened to be a child that has double vision in the vision of his father. I don't know what I'm talking to somebody here. Hallelujah. Touch somebody, say, beloved. Welcome to church. Good. He said, if I die today, he forced himself to continue that relationship with the woman that God, because of that woman, and punish him and punish his family. He saw something different in that woman. He refused to go back. The parents of the young lady, everybody was there, they were against. The woman got the second pregnancy, and this woman put to bed. Before the woman could have put to bed, God had ministered to David that this woman is pregnant. The child that is coming, give the name of the child Solomon. He is the man that will take over you. He is going to be a wise son. And he rejoiced. Hello? Do you know that so many times, sometimes you have children, you have family, you are praying for them, you are not seeing the result of the prayers. Orientation. When he found out that this woman was pregnant, he rejoiced. And when the child was born, the child was always conscious of his father. What he will do to please his father. What does that mean? That David has gotten a reviver. That if he is not there with this child, the kingdom, the Republic of Israel, is going to have more revival. Are you hearing me? Who will revive your family? Where you are heading to, what is going to be the end of it? You say, a woman, wait for me for 1 month, I'm coming. Under 2 days, she will join to another man. The factory you have produced, the product of your factory determine the material or the equipment, the raw material you use to prepare it. If it is fake, you produce fake material, fake product. If it is original, you produce original what? Products. These are the things that a wise person has to look into. A young lady you want to go into marriage, who is him? What kind of life does he live? Who is she? What kind of life does she live? All you want, I want to have fun. What do you know about fun? What do you know about fun? When a million naira come into family, you people will share it anyhow and eat it anyhow. How can the family grow? As you are eating the money today, what are you going to keep for your next and next generation? All the things that God has given to you, you want to just finish it before you die. It's bad. And the child was born in the family of King David. Wherever David was, Solomon will be there. Before David will call the maid or the servant to get water for washing in the morning, as a Jewish man, King Solomon has offered the water. When he is on the palace judging the people, King Solomon will be somewhere buying some ideas. When he is working, King Solomon will be there working with him. Other sons of his moving around, prince, my prince, my prince, my prince. Without looking down the work of their father, what the legacy of the man he suffered and built up. And so many of you are acting nonsense because there is no legacy you have built. So many of you are misbehaving because you have never thought of building legacy. Some young lady thinks that fun, your mate has built legacy for the unborn children. Your mind will be telling you, fun. You have no vision and you are claiming a child of God. God happened to be the creator and he created you in his own image for you to be creative. I'm taking you to the book of First King chapter 3. First King chapter 3 from verse 3 to 5. And Solomon loved, watch here. Solomon was religious. He was a religious man. He was a righteous man. He was so handsome that women trooped on him. Are you hearing me? Solomon was so handsome, but he loved God. And Solomon, verse 3 of the same chapter, 1 King, chapter 3, verse 3 to 5. And Solomon loved the Lord, walking in his statue of David his father, the legacy of his father. And only he sacrificed and burnt incense in a high place, in the church. That is where he can spend his money, not in club. Or looking for a woman and you will host a birthday. He spent his money in the church. Even though his father was alive. His father was giving offering and he was giving his offering. His father was giving sacrifice and he was giving double sacrifice. Because he knew the secret of those things. Power of God is here. And King, verse 3, verse 4, and the king went to Geba to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offering did Solomon offer upon that altar. In Geba, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask what I should give thee. Listen, his response to the church, his commitments to the church, his attitude towards the church, he gave as others are giving. He sacrificed more than his father on his own. God appeared to him. Take this word. Listen, King Solomon was not the first child. Tell somebody, say, hear this. Tell somebody, say, hear this. King Solomon was not the first child. Are you hearing me? He was not the first child. Why wouldn't God appear to the elder brother? Why wouldn't God appear to the second son, the third son, the fourth son, the fifth son? Then God appeared to a child that was born legally. that was not born legally, illegal, that this child was born. His mother was not married legally. His mother happened to be a girlfriend to the king. But God appeared to this young man. God never, the bride price they have paid on your hair, the traditional wedding, they sent off, the white wedding. What God is eager is the sacrifice, your commitment in his house. People can say whatever they want to say. They have not paid their bride price, and you're living with a man. David had not paid the bride price of the mother of Solomon. And that woman that was married out of wedlock was the one that God has chosen her own son that will take over if David is not there. I don't know whether you are following, sir. God appeared to that boy. God couldn't appear to the first son of David. God couldn't appear to the second son of David, or the princesses, or all the princes. But God appeared to the poor boy. He said, son, ask whatever you want. God showed himself to a child. Somebody said power. He showed himself to that little boy. I have seen your efforts. How you want to walk with your father. Listen, God showed himself to a young lady like you, Esther. Esther was so worried. How can my people perish while I'm alive? Is that king is not a man? Opportunity came and she was picked. She was not picked like that. She prepared herself. Somebody said she prepared herself. With prayers and sacrifices. With commitments. To tell you that Esther was used to. Esther was a prayer warrior. Esther was not talking about fun. Esther was talking about the reality. Remember when she succeeded of being the queen, a problem came up. Mordecai advanced against Haman. Haman against Mordecai. I called her people. You people must join me what I know best. What was that? Fasting and praying.